Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of the series How to Launch Your Application through the Gckey account. So in the previous video, I walked you through the forms and the documents for the study permit or the main applicant. And for today's video, we will go through all the forms and documents for the open work permit or your spouse and your dependent child or the SP minor or student permit minor. So without further ado, let's begin. Alright guys, let's continue. So for family member 1, this is for your spouse or the open work permit applicant. Okay, so for the OWP, what he needs is the IMM 1295. Remember, for the student applicant, it's IMM 1294. Okay, the form looks almost exactly the same from, it's actually the same from page 1, page 2. So only on page 3 there will be a difference, because for the student it will say the details of intended study, so the details of the school, the program and all. So for the OWP applicant, here it's asking for the details of intended work in Canada. So for your OWP or for your spouse, you choose open work permit. And then for number 2, you can leave that blank because you don't have any prospective employer yet. For intended location, just put your location, where you're going. So your province, the city and town. For the address, you can write to be determined. Okay. Number 4, you can leave it blank since these are not required field. And for number 5, duration of expected employment, the dates that you will write here, you will just have to follow the dates of the students' classes. So it is on their letter of acceptance or LOA. It states there the first day of classes and the last day of classes. So use those dates as the from and to. Okay, and then the rest of the form is the same as the student applicant. Okay, their education, their employment history, their background information. So again, if your spouse has been refused before, because for example this is your second application, your family application was refused the first time, so your spouse also has a record of refusal already. So you have to tick yes here and yes here. Then for the details, just write work permit application number. It starts with W for the work permit, S for the study permit. So work permit application number W 123456, refused last June 29. So just write the date, when was the refusal. If you have multiple refusals, write everything. If you've been refused for US visa, Europe or Schengen, all tourist visa refusal, you also have to declare. And then the rest are the same. Okay, so again, you just have to write the date here, yes here to consent them to contact you, and then validate. Okay, then for the family information, is this exactly the same as the one that the student is also required. Wait, let me see. Yeah, this one, the family information. So of course this one will be the or your spouse family. Okay, his or her mother, father, and the children, sisters and brothers. All right. Then passport, again, all passports that have been issued ever since, scan the bio page and all the pages with stamps. Purpose of travel, if we click on the question mark, it says you must submit proof that you are coming to Canada for a temporary visit. Examples of what you can provide as proof: scanned copy of your flight ticket, so if you have return ticket, something like that, your travel itinerary, or proof of a medical employment. But these samples are like more applicable for a tourist, right? So for an open work permit, what we usually put in a purpose of travel is you upload one file that contains the student's LOA and the OWP's letter of intent. This is the version of the study plan for the student. If the student has a study plan, the dependents have LOI or letter of intent explaining why they need to come. Okay, so that's why you have to attach the student's LOA to show proof that you are a spouse of an incoming international student, and your letter would have to say why are you coming, why do you need to come, and all that. And then for digital photo, as usual, the same, just the Canada visa size. And proof of upfront medical exam. This is the e-medical sheet that you get from the clinic or hospital. Okay, under optional documents, is the same as the students. Fill out the IMM 5257. This is basically the travel history and the client information. So there are several supporting documents that you can add for the open work permit applicant, and for it doesn't have a specific tab here under Gckey, so use the client information to add those documents. So what does an OWP's client information usually look like? Okay, here is an example of a table of contents for an open work permit applicant. So right in there, the 1, 2, 3, 4 are almost the same as the student's client info. So their personal information like birth cert, marriage cert. For the student has their own marriage cert tab, but for the OWP they don't have, so you can include it in the client info file. And then NBI and police clearance from other countries that you've lived in. So educational credential, diploma, TOR, and any other certificates if applicable. And then professional information, their CV or resume, and COEs from all the companies you've worked in. The professional information is actually optional. Some people don't even include their husband's CV and COEs, but it won't hurt, right? So for me, just put it there. Home ties and investment, same as what was declared by the student permit. So normally, especially for married people or the married couple, right, you have, it's a conjugal property. So if the student declared a house and lot, usually, yeah, the husband will also declare house and lot. So basically the same what was declared in the student permit applicant home ties and investment part. So of course they have their the spouse would have their own government contribution, they have their own insurance policy and all that. So yeah, declare that. Declare their own, not the student's insurance, okay? You have to have it under your name. Okay. Proof of funds. So here it's included under the client information file because they don't have, the OWP doesn't have a separate tab, unlike the student applicant. See, the student applicant has their own POF or proof of means of financial support tab. So for the OWP, they don't have it. So everything that is that has something to do with funds included in the client info of your OWP. Okay, for next will be the family member 2 or the dependent child. So this child is 7 years old. So he or she is a minor. Student permit minor applicant, I mean. So the form is exactly the same as the main applicant, IMM 1294. The only difference would be the details of their study. I already discussed that. Yes, in the previous video. So for the kid, it's to be determined because they don't have school yet and all that. So yeah, you can go back to the previous video in the part where I was explaining IMM 1294. Okay, so digital photo, passport, it's the same for the student and the open work permit applicant. And then letter of acceptance. This is not letter of acceptance of the child from a school, but the letter of acceptance of the parent who is studying. So in my case, for example, it's my LOA that I uploaded in my children's LOA tab. Okay, and then their e-medical sheet that they get or that you get after your medical. Okay, so the child also has their own client information. What would be included in their client information? Again, for the child, they also have their own letter of intent. If your child is like 4 or 5, those who cannot write yet, you write the letter of intent. The student, the main applicant will have to write the letter of intent. Of course, the parent. And then some like for my kids who can already write, I ask them to write their own like personalized letter, like, "Dear visa officer, I want to come with my mommy to Canada," something like that. But you make a formal letter as well, like explaining why you need your children to come with you. So that's their LOI. And then birth certificate, marriage certificate of parents, proof of enrollment if they're currently enrolled. You can ask that from your school or from the school. Report card if available. I included my kids' one. Resident ID card if living abroad. So I included it here because, for example, for us that we were living in Singapore, so I included their IDs as well. And then family photos as part of their home ties, like saying like these are the people that we look forward to. This is not family photos of you as a family, mother, father, and the child, but family photos of people that you will live back home, like their grandma, their cousins, and all that. So to show like there's still people in the Philippines that your child would want to come back to. So yeah, that's it, guys. We made it to the end. So once you have uploaded, I think I've already discussed this, once you have uploaded everything, all the files, then the next button will appear here, and then it will lead you to a page where you have to click I agree to the statement that says everything you provided, all the information you provided are true and correct. So click I agree, and then it will lead you to the payment page where you input your credit card or debit card details. So once you pay, you are successfully lodged, and the waiting game begins. So I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. This series, all 3 parts, it's quite long, but I try to be as thorough as possible because there's so many things involved in the application. So I hope you find this helpful, and if you do, don't forget to please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye, guys!